Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. I am proud to be joined by the nice one, I'm calling it, which is Krystle Martin.
Yeah,
Uh, Thank you for coming on and
thanks for
doing
having
this with me. I'm very honored to have you. So,
Happy to be here.
thank you. Thank you so much. So, like, my first off, I just want to say, had thought this film was a total blast. Had a
Thank
lot of fun with it. As I was telling you before the show, saw this in a big, crowded theater. People just enjoy like laughing, getting into it, really
you.
having a great time. So, um, and so my question to you, first question, and before we get further into the interview, guys, if you all have any questions that y'all want to throw into the chat, the live chat, then by the end of the interview, we'll take some of your live questions and then see what y'all have to say to Krystle, or it can be like just nice thoughts and stuff.
Aw.
If y'all have anything like that. So, yeah. So my first question to you is just like, what is it? How does it feel? Just the excitement of just seeing a film like this get a theatrical release and have so many people passionate about it, have a community of fans who are just embracing it and saying that they're going to make this like a yearly tradition and all that stuff. And it's just as an actor, I'm sure that just has to make you feel really good.
Of course, I think every actor can relate when I say it is a dream come true. I mean, nobody expected it to blow up like it has. We were making a film because we wanted to see it and we wanted to see this twist on this classic tale, and we all love what we do. So it was just a very passionate group of professionals, working multiple jobs to make everything work on set. Everyone's helping out as much as they can. We had a shoestring budget and we made this film because we thought it would be good. And we're so glad that everyone else seems to think so too. The audience reactions have been incredible, to hear that people are going to the theaters. I've had a lot of family go see it this last weekend, which makes me feel really great. A lot of family and friends, and so many of them are like, the entire theater was laughing and hooting and hollering and jumping at the jump scares. And I love that. One of my favorite things about the movie theater is getting to kind of this camaraderie of everyone in the theater with you, reacting in real time, and you guys all get to share this experience together. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, to me, there's really nothing like uh, seeing a film in a theater. I was worried when this was first announced that it was going to be on like VOD or something because I wanted to see this in a theater, and so I was glad I was able to see it in the theater and just seeing. Honestly, having it be one of my favorite, maybe my favorite as far as a horror movie goes, maybe my favorite like horror movie theater experience since Barbarian, because I saw that opening night and everyone was just getting loud and crazy, and it's like the same thing here. It was just this is so much fun. And yeah, I'm sure like, yeah, this thing was announced 2 months ago. And I just like, what was the filming process like on this one? Was this just like very laid back? How was it?
Like I said, like we all came together. It was like a summer camp. Like we had several days shooting at a cabin, and people would like spend the night because we all had to be there early the next morning. We only had like I was there for 15 days of shooting, and I was pretty much there every day, maybe just a couple more days of shooting beyond that. But we did it very quickly, and then it was edited very quickly, and now it's out. I mean, we just shot this in like, I think it was March. And I have to hand it to our director, Stephen Lamorte, and our producer, Amy Schumacher, because it's their level of hustle is unprecedented. The fact that we filmed this when we did and now it's out in theaters just months later, I mean, it's incredible. I really appreciate their follow through.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm just wondering because y'all you said you filmed it in March, and that is a good period. But did COVID have any sort of uh did that interfere with filming in any way, or like how did y'all handle that?
Much like the rest of the industry, we were still observing COVID protocols and doing regular testing just to be
Yeah.
safe with everything. everyone that was involved, at least to my knowledge, was already vaccinated. So that was helpful. And then, I'm really glad that our movie happened to come out at a time where we can go to theaters again. And like, that pretty much just became a possibility again. So I'm really grateful that, that wouldn't have been possible had it come out sooner. So this was like kind of kismet, the way that this happened. And now we get to have a theatrical release.
Man. And that's actually a good segue to this question is what was your initial reaction when you found out The Mean One was going to be in theaters?
Steven was on the phone with me, and I think I just was not believing it. He was like, no, when are you going to understand? Like, this is really happening. Like, we're not going to have a premiere at my house. Like, we're not just going to show our family and friends. Like, no, we're coming out in Regal theaters all over the country. And it just, man, pinched me. I couldn't believe it. This was my first time seeing myself on the big screen. And I think that's true for the majority of our cast, with the exception of David. But it really is just a dream come true as an actor to get to see the fruits of your labors on the big screen.
And when you said that, it made me think, because I know some actors get like, even actors who've been in the business for a while, they've been seeing themselves on screen for a while, like they still get kind of insecure about seeing themselves. Like, how is that experience, like seeing yourself on the big screen?
I remember that being a thing early on in my career, but I work in stunts as well. I'm a stunt performer, and that's one of my greatest tools, honestly. When you're trying to kind of hone something in, we do a pre-visualization of a scene, fight scene, and that's such a huge integral part of the process that you just get really used to watching yourself. And so often you think you're doing one thing in a fight scene, and then you watch it on film, you're like, oh, that looks weird, I can fix that. And so I think I just kind of got over that. I remember it early on in my career where I was weirded out watching myself, but it's just not really a thing anymore. We're all our own worst critics, but you just live, learn, and move on.
Yeah. And you talk about stunt performance, and that's one of the things I wanted, because I told you earlier, I'm not going to get any spoilers for any of you guys watching this, because everyone should go seek this out. But there is sort of I'm not going to say what it is, but there's sort of a montage scene, and I told you about earlier beforehand that I was like, I knew that was not put on, faked. So I was wondering, like, how your stunt performance background started, and just how that was implemented into this movie. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. I think definitely like a checkbox in my career wish list is fulfilled now that I have a training montage. I actually started my career in acting. I went to a conservatory, and then I went to UCLA acting school. So I knew pretty early on that I was into acting, and stunts came as a complete surprise. I really enjoyed the stage combat classes that were part of the acting curriculum. And then when I graduated and I was hanging out on set, and actually at a place called Muscle Beach in Santa Monica, California, there tend to be a lot of stunt people that hang out there and just kind of play. It's like a big playground for adults. And so the more stunt people I met, I just thought they were the coolest people to hang out with. And the more I hung out with them, they started inviting me to like private training workouts, and I was just going for fun. But then it kind of took off. I got cast in a live stunt show called Marvel Universe Live, and I toured all over the US and Canada and Europe for 3 years. And that was kind of how I got started in stunts. I still didn't even think it would be a career at that point. But we were all growing together, like this group of stunt performers, and learning so much from each other. And everyone was so generous and sharing what they knew. And by the time I came back, I hadn't even realized how much I had picked up until I was like auditioning for more live shows and just booking them. Which was like, I remember that not being a thing. So it was really exciting to see the improvement that happened. And then I started booking more live TV and film gigs. So I am really excited about, the things that you don't plan on in your career, but when you're just open to opportunity, it really took off, and I kind of got more into stunts to a point, and I was loving it, but I was also really missing acting. And then I kind of manifested for myself this year that like I really wanted to get into acting again, and then this appeared, and I got to do this awesome role, and then it went to theaters, so it all just kind of worked out.
Oh man, that is so great. And uh, he actually asked one of the questions I was going to ask is, how did it feel working with David? Was he nice, or did he stay in character the whole time? Because
A bit of both. It's funny because I think when both my co-star Chase Mullins has mentioned this as well, that like the first time we met him, he was in the head, in the costume and makeup and everything. It was kind of like, oh, hi there, and we didn't really recognize him, but both when he was between scenes and in the scenes, like he is so talented. Like he was constantly working on his gestures, and he would stand in front of a mirror like when he first got it on and kind of figure out what he could and couldn't do with prosthetics. And I think probably working on like how he was going to differentiate between his Art the Clown and the Mean One, and really kind of take inspiration from the original tale and then make it his own. And he really did that in an amazing way and wasn't hindered by all of the makeup and wardrobe. Like his eyes were still so expressive, and I don't want to ruin anything for anyone who hasn't seen it, but like there's a moment where, you know, Cindy and the Mean One really have this moment of connection, and I really was amazed at how expressive his eyes were and how much that moved me as a performer, and he made my job so easy in that scene because I was able to connect with him in that way.
man, yeah, that's awesome. He is becoming such a horror icon, and that's one thing I gotta say about the makeup is like the makeup looked so good on him. I actually thought it kind of was like inspired off of Jim Carrey's Grinch. You know, it kind of had that uh, feel a bit from the Ron Howard movie. And speaking of Grinch, are you like what was your I'm curious to know what your background with the Grinch story was before this. Like, did you see the movies growing up? Were you into the story? Like, how was that?
I was always a fan of the original cartoon version. I think that's the one that I really think of when I think of. I'm so afraid to even say that word. That's like a taboo word. Who shall not be named. We don't say that word. But the original from like, what is it, 1960 or something? That was the one that I grew up watching, and I've always loved. And of course, the other ones were super fun as well. And but I think that's the one that really stuck out to me.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, and it's great now to have this film come out around the time when horror is doing so well, and also just now for someone else to add to their Christmas holiday Grinch watches. If they want to watch like a Grinch movie over the holidays, they can go to this one and have a really fun time with it. And so also because of, you know, the genre that it's in, have you always been a fan of horror? And if so, do you kind of like the whole blend of horror mixing with Christmas like this?
I do like that we've kind of put our own twist on it. I have to admit that I am a horror baby. Like I am such a wimp about it. I have a very active imagination, and when I watch horror movies, which I have sat through some of them because I think it's really important in our culture, and especially things like The Exorcist. Like there's so many references to it in popular culture that you just I felt like I needed to know as a performer. But man, my brain just takes off like later after you're done watching the movie and you're sitting in the dark, and I think of all the other things that could happen. So I really appreciated our version because it's a little bit more accessible. There's kind of something for everyone. Like if it were just a straight horror movie, I wouldn't be one to be super stoked on it. So I like that it has some comedy in there, and it's kind of got like a feel good nature about it and a little bit of a love story. And I really appreciate that it's kind of well-rounded. And I like I like the horror and Christmas together. I think that's interesting. It's not always paired that way.
Yeah, and I've been telling a friend of mine too who can't handle horror at all. He's been trying to get into horror a bit. I told him I was like, the mean one's a good one for you. Christmas plus just mild horror in there, nothing like Exorcist or anything like that. That's gonna like scare the shit out of you. But
Some of my cousins took their kids that were, are like between like ages
yeah.
like 13. So I think that I'm glad that that can, be something that's accessible to them as well, and that they don't have to sit it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But because this is also a Christmas movie and will become a Christmas tradition for a lot of people now.
That's one of our best compliments we've been getting is that people watch it every year with their families, and cult classic would just be the best of everything that could happen. That's all we could ever hope for.
Oh yeah, myself included. I definitely am gonna enjoy watching this one every year, every other year. I had a blast with it. But I'm just curious, like, what are some of your like go-to Christmas movie like traditions that you have?
I always watch Die Hard.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's my stunt woman showing, because I love the action movie. I know some people are like, that's not a Christmas movie, but I always love watching that at Christmas time. I love the Home Alone movies, particularly the second one. Was always a standout to me. Yeah, what else? I like The Christmas Story, all the classic ones my family usually watches. So I kind of grew up with those. Oh, and Klaus. That's like our new one that my boyfriend and I love.
The animated Netflix one?
Yes.
Yes. I was blown away by that one, honestly.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It was a lot better than I was expecting when I first saw the trailers for it, which I hope is what lots of people say about ours.
Yeah. Because whenever I saw the trailers for this, I was like, this looks really fun. And I was like, I have all the faith in the world and the cast and everything like that. I was like, it could go either way, but I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. So that definitely, those are some great picks. And Die Hard absolutely is a Christmas movie. I don't care what people say. They literally have played Christmas music. Literally at the end of the movie, there's like paper coming down that looks like snow, so it makes it have that like Christmas feel to it, and the themes of it are Christmas as well.
Yeah.
And like that's one thing I wanted to say about The Mean One, and just like I was so impressed at how, because one thing I went going into this, a little bit of a worry I had was that I've seen this issue with some other Christmas horror stuff in the past where it's like it's horror, but then it forgets about the heart, and like Christmas always has to have like the heart, that's like make you feel warm and fuzzy inside while also giving you all the other kind of horror aspects if you're doing a horror one. And so like I loved seeing this be so heartfelt while also being the fun kind of slasher horror movie.
I think it's a really good mix. Our writers Finn and Flip Kobler are great at that. They Flip and his wife Cindy have written a lot of the Disney sequels. So I think they're really good at kind of bringing that feel good aspect into everything they write. And because I think if you leave out the heart, like it's just kind of an empty shell. So I think a big reason that we engage in entertainment and watch movies is to kind of practice empathy. And I think it's really important for humanity to get to enjoy entertainment, but also like kind of step into someone else's shoes and feel what they feel.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. And I just was like, which is a good segue into my next question is like, what was the thing about the film that like drew you to the project, whether it be like the writing, the script, like who was directing it, any of that?
I would say first and foremost, the team. Steven reached out to me this time last year because he had, I think, something canceled and he had this little block of time available. And he's like, hey, I've got this crazy idea. I want to create this trailer based on this classic tale of this green grump in a Santa suit. And I want you to be an adult Cindy. And it sounded so exciting. And I loved that I got to combine both my acting and my stunts. So we created this trailer and it was really fun. Same thing in a smaller scale where we shot it in like 3 or 4 days. And then he had it edited by the end of the week and just in time for Christmas. And then when we put it out, everyone went crazy. Like they loved it. And everyone was like, this is amazing. When is the movie coming out? And Steven's like, nope, that was it. That was the whole thing. Enjoy. And people wouldn't stop asking. And so I think that got him thinking. And I had worked with him before on a Powerpuff Girls short fan film. And I really enjoyed it. And kind of similar to this experience, like he really showed me the amount of hustle and follow through that he has with all of his projects, where I thought, oh, that'll just be like a fun little thing. I played Bubbles. I think it's still available on YouTube somewhere, Powerpuff Girls, The Long Way Back. And it was really a fun thing to do and just get together with friends, and everyone was really passionate and we had a good time. And then that kind of had its like 15 minutes of fame and came out on Thanksgiving, like 4 years ago. And that like blew up and had a ton of views and was like more than anybody expected at the time. So yeah, I think I just was really impressed with working with Steven then, and Flip had written that one as well. So that's really what first kind of piqued my interest, both for the original trailer that we did, and then when he called me back in, I think it was like February or March, and I was like, okay, so crazy idea number 2. People loved it, so I think we should go ahead and make a feature. And I'm like, I'm in. He actually, when he was talking to me, was like, yeah, so we're going to kind of change things up. We've got some producers coming in and maybe a few other roles are different. And I kept waiting for him to be like, and we're going to find a star name and replace you, but love you, bye. And I was like so prepared to be like, okay, because that's how it goes in the industry sometimes, like no hard feelings. But I think I finally just asked him, I was like, so are you replacing me? And he was like, oh, no, I was just trying to tell you what's going on. I was like, oh, okay. And I was really excited because I love this role. And especially once they sent me the script, I was like, well, this is my entire acting reel in one film because there's a little bit of everything. I get to cry and fight and laugh and be in love. And it's just really is a little bit of everything.
Wow. Yeah. And you just showed yourself to be the ultimate badass with every kind of emotion in here. I thought it was excellent. And I did not know. I am a huge Powerpuff Girls fan, by the way. I am not ashamed to admit that. So I'm gonna have to definitely go and check out this Powerpuff Girls short film as soon as I get the chance to. Which Powerpuff Girl did you play?
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yes. Yeah, they already had the other 2 girls that they were cast and they did amazing. And it was really fun for me to get to play a Bubbles because I'm probably would usually be more likely to get cast as like a Buttercup or a what was the other one? Oh my God, I totally Blossom, a Blossom or a Buttercup. And the Bubbles character is not one I would usually get cast in. So it was really fun to get to be that bubbly, fun personality, which is kind of more like me. It's just not where I usually get cast.
Yeah. Bubbles is my favorite one. So that's yeah. So I'll definitely have to check that one out. But that it sounded like the whole crew was just fantastic, and that makes me really, really happy that you had just such a lovely experience on this film. I guess I'm wondering though, like what was the like hardest part about shooting the mean one? Like what was the most challenging aspect?
I kind of didn't realize until like a couple days before shooting that this was my first time starring in a feature film. I had done like starring roles in short films and a web series and things like that, but I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me earlier, but I was like going over all of my lines and being like, I've never done this before. That's new. Or like shooting out of order and trying to keep track of where you are in the script and what I'm wearing. Thank goodness for our script soup, Anila, because she is a rock star and she was so great about like, what earrings am I wearing in this scene? Like, and then Steven would help me keep track of like where I am emotionally, because we just did a scene where like somebody died and then I have to do a scene where I'm falling in love, and you kind of have to switch modalities pretty quickly there. So that was challenging, but I'm super grateful for this experience because now I can take that forward. And especially shooting as quickly as we were, it was a lot of jumping around and making use of like one location for multiple days, but completely different parts of the script. So it was exciting. Definitely trial by fire, but I think we made it work pretty well.
That is really good to hear. And what is the thing that I guess once you finished filming, once you were done with everything, what was the part after it was all done that you were probably looking forward to the most with Mean One?
Getting to show people and share what we'd been working on so hard, because it kind of like consumed our lives for that time. We were there every day for a while, and a lot of mental energy and everything. So then it's just kind of the waiting game. And this one was really nice because it was so fast in completion. Like usually you're waiting a year or more for something that you worked so hard on to like come out and you get to finally show people and talk about it. And this one was pretty quick. So that was really nice, getting to just show people sooner than later.
That's awesome. And this is a good one too, is if Steven had the idea to make the Mean One sequel, would you return as Cindy?
100%. Working with this group is amazing, and I would love to see what we could do with a higher budget. If somebody wants to help us out there, I think that we could go even bigger with it, and I think it'd be really fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you could, that kind of is a segue into another kind of fun question, is if there was any other kind of horror IP or like popular horror brand like movie or something like that, what do you feel Sydney would feel the most like? The character of that you play as Cindy, what do you feel like she would be the most fitting in?
Honestly, I think I kind of gravitate more toward like action roles with Cindy. I think that she kind of when it comes down to it and she's placed in threatening situations, she really digs deep into the strength of who she is and fighting for the people that she loves. That I think it kind of is more like a Ripley in Aliens or a Sarah Connor in Terminator, like that kind of vibe.
And I just want to also ask, like, is there any is it more like a relief or excitement, or is it more like a pressure now that you're going to be like compared positively, at least in my light, to Sarah Connor and Ripley and all the other final girls of like horror and everything like that?
I don't know. I just take it in stride. I think it's a huge compliment, and I can only hope that. I mean, those are the kind of roles I love to play. So I'll just hang out in that genre and that side of things. I love it. Getting to combine my action knowledge from my stunt side of things and getting to bring it to my acting is really cool. And I think eventually when you get into higher budget stuff, like I would call on some of my fellow stunt performers who look like me and be like, hey, I got a job for you. Like, come be my double, just to kind of spread the wealth and let other people have a job. And I think that would be really fun to get to just act. While I love doing both, I want to spread the wealth and let everybody work.
That's awesome. That's so nice. Eric asked, "What was your initial reaction when you saw the poster for the Mean One? Since you are front and center." Oh.
I personally love it so much. Thank you. I really like that too. And I know that Steven kind of went to bat for me. I think they were considering just kind of putting a generic person there, like just a scared woman face. And Steven really went to bat for me. And he's like, no, that needs to be Krystle. And I super appreciate him for that because similar to finding out that it was going to be in theaters, like seeing your face on a movie poster is like, wow. There's nothing quite like it. And going to the theaters and having my family see my face on the movie poster out in front it's really special.
Oh man. And did y'all like have any plan? Because you told me that you were so excited that it was being pushed into you guys. If y'all haven't seen it, y'all can have another chance to see it this weekend because it's being pushed into this weekend. Is that something that like was planned, or was it just like it was just so successful that like y'all just?
Yeah, we were originally guaranteed for one weekend in theaters, which on its own was a huge win. Like nobody expected that to happen. So that alone was exciting. And then we just found out on Monday that we've been extended for another weekend. And I know that now we're all kind of hoping against hope. We're going up against Avatar, which is really hard, but we would love to manage to pull it off again with your help. If we can get everyone to go this week, it is possible, get extended for Christmas. And it's a Christmas movie, so that would be amazing if we can make that happen. But we just need everyone to tell their friends and bring a big group of people, grab some popcorn and go watch The Mean One, please, because being in theaters on Christmas would be incredible.
Oh yeah. And for all of y'all, if y'all have any trepidations or any like thoughts trying to decide, oh, should I see The Mean One or should I see Avatar? Just think, The Mean One is an hour and a half of entertainment compared to 3 hours, like almost 3.5 hours. Okay, I'm just warning you right there. You'll already get much.
Do it as a double feature. It's just the movies.
Just have a big day out of it. Go out and just do a double feature and just enjoy both just fantastic action movies.
Yeah.
This is a good question brought up. How does it feel signing your autograph and knowing that people are interested in getting your signature on the Mean One memorabilia?
Amazing. I, for the first time in my life, really had to think about what I want my public signature to be because you don't want people to know how you sign your checks. So I actually sat down for an hour and practiced a signature. I actually just finished signing a bunch of Mean One posters, and it's just really heartwarming to know that somebody wants my autograph. Here you go. Thank you for making my day. And David actually has been super helpful in that realm because he works a lot of cons and he's been kind of giving me advice on how to navigate that realm because that's all new to me. And it kind of occurred to me for the first time because I went to LA Comic-Con, another short film that I had worked on, stunt coordinating with my boyfriend, Brandon Elmore. It was a Constantine short film that was made by Nate Lyles. And we were there at LA Comic-Con. And it occurred to me for the first time that I could be seeing Cindy cosplay next year. And that I just kind of had this moment. I think I actually stopped in my tracks and I was like, oh my goodness. And I think that's why Steven and Amy really chose to make it such a specific final scene wardrobe. Like I'm wearing a hot pink shirt with a battle vest on, a tactical vest, and I cover it in Christmas ornaments. And you can see that in the trailer, so that wasn't a spoiler. But I think it occurred to me for the first time that I'm like, that's why you didn't just make it all black or something. Like this is going to be iconic. And that was a good moment of realization.
Oh man, that's awesome. And that's a good segue into Eric's next question. If you're asked, would you be open to attending horror conventions?
Absolutely. I think it sounds like a ton of fun. I like going for fun to just hang out. So getting to go and see people who are excited about the movie, yeah, why not?
That's yeah. I love, for one, especially just going to any kind of conventions, but
Yeah.
also like horror cons, just all sorts of different kinds of conventions. I love the cosplay and everything, so that's a big thing of mine. And just and yeah, just I don't know. For me, I feel like I would be kind of nervous if I was in a movie and someone was like cosplaying as me. It would be kind of like it would be really cool, but it would also be kind of, you know.
I'd be asking them if I could take pictures with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate there. And then this is sort of a double question because I have another question after this that's very fitting. If you could play any other character in the movie, who else would you like to play?
Oh, in our movie?
I guess so.
Huh. I really like Amy, our producer, also plays the mayor, and I think that's a really
Right,
fun
she is
role.
fun.
Yeah, so I think she's kind of has a nice twist and story arc, so I think that would be fun.
And my question I have for you is, if you had to, like, if what other genre would you want to do if someone was to ask you, like, hey, like, what specific genre would you be looking to
Yeah.
tackle that you haven't really gotten to do yet?
I mean, action comes to mind, of course.
Yeah.
But I love it all. I mean, any day that I get to act is a good day. Any day on set is a great day. So I really love drama, but on the other hand, I like comedy. I like the challenge of comedy. I think I more naturally kind of would go more toward drama and action. I think comedy would be a challenge, but one that I would happily accept.
But yeah, I could definitely see you in like a action rom com, or or just, or like an action, like more action comedies. I could just totally see that, especially if it was like a buddy cop comedy or something like that.
Ooh,
I could just that
fun!
would be yeah, I would love that.
That would be great.
And then
Definitely some comedic moments that I played with as Bubbles in the Powerpuff Girls.
oh yeah.
And I had a lot of fun anytime I got to do that. So that'd be fun.
Did you get to keep any props or anything from the mean one, aka the candy cane gun?
Not the candy cane gun. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up on eBay at some point, honestly. But I did get to the gray sweater that I wear kind of the scenes with my dad, like the Christmas sweater. It's got like a snowman on it and it's glittery, and I loved it, so they let me keep it.
Oh, that's so great. And then there was one up here that I liked from Gold Fledge Int. It says, "Hey Krystle, since Mean One blends horror with the holidays, what are some of your favorite genre bending films and shows, especially recent ones?"
Genre bending films. Ooh, I think I need like some examples of ones recently. I'm like drawing a blank. I'm sure I would appreciate them. I can tell you that one of my favorite movies, if this kind of answers your question, I really like well-rounded movies that kind of have a little bit of everything, which I think ours turned out to be. But one of my favorite movies is called The American President. It's written by Aaron Sorkin, who I adore his writing style. I would love to work on an Aaron Sorkin script. And it really just has a little bit of everything. It's got drama, it's got some comedic moments, it has a romantic storyline, and really amazing acting. Annette Bening, Michael Douglas, Martin Sheen, Michael J. Fox, Anna Devere Smith. I mean, it's just chock full of amazing actors, and I love watching that movie. I probably watch that a couple times a year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Aaron Sorkin is, as I've been getting into writing my own scripts and stuff, and
Nice.
and Aaron Sorkin's kind of a big inspiration for my writing that I've been wanting to do, because
Good for you. That's awesome.
I'm in love with every script that man does. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great one, American President. I don't know if I can. I'm trying to think of other ones.
Yeah, genre bending. I'm sure there's some that I know
Yeah.
about, but I'm totally drawing a blank.
Same here. But
Ours is genre bending.
yeah, Yeah, you are allowed to say yours if you want, because yeah, it's genre bending. And um one question I do want to ask is sort of what are you, whenever you are reading for a script or whenever you are auditioning or whenever you are trying to get a part for a character, what are you looking for in that character? Like what are some qualities?
It's kind of just a gut check thing. Like sometimes you get a script and you start reading it just the sides and you're like, I don't really want to audition for this anymore. If it just feels really awkward, like the words coming out of your mouth don't flow, they don't feel like something you'd actually say. It feels like you're reading something instead of words that a normal person would speak. I think that's a big one. And then, I want to see it be a complete story and not just like exposition, or like that's kind of a thing in some scripts that you get and you're just like, no. But mostly, I read it, and if it really is just kind of a feeling, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do this. Or like I can already like see how this is going to play out in my head. Then I know I want to take it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And do you my next question is uh like do you have a process to get ready? Because like I know a lot of actors, they have like a certain process to prepare themselves for roles and such. So
When I was in acting school, we kind of did a smattering of all of the different possible ways to prepare. And so I kind of pick and choose. I've got, kind of my actor's toolbox. And for the most part, I would say I can just be in the scene. Like if it's kind of your everyday scene, you just put yourself into the circumstances of the character and it just flows. If ever I'm having trouble, I'll kind of pull on some exercises. Like if I'm not quite feeling the emotion, what really helps is a moment before and just kind of thinking about, what just happened and how is that affecting me in this moment right before this scene starts, which was really important when you are jumping around in the timeline of a feature film, because I may have actually just done this as Krystle the actor, a completely different scene, completely different emotions called for, and then now I have to prepare for being highly emotional in a different scene. So that would be really important, just kind of going over what just happened to my character and where I'm coming from as my character. And then there were moments that it actually happened on set with my co-star Chase Mullins. We had an emotional scene together and we're like kind of improving beforehand. Like we both, it was unfortunate because he had a really cool monologue that ended up getting cut for time. He did an amazing job though. I hope he can somehow get that footage for his reel because he did great. And we were both like emotional in the moment. But we did some improv heading into that, of just because we were kind of like talking each other down from a ledge as our characters, and some back and forth improv really helped that situation.
oh man,
Natural.
that's great because that just shows that, especially because I've done acting class before and we would have like an improv exercise, and when I just was able to work with someone who I knew really well or trusted really well, it was like so easy just to be able to break out into just doing any kind of scenario.
It definitely
Yeah.
helps to have a scene partner who's just in it with you and ready to play. And I think Stephen was great in that, even with our really short and tight production schedule, we got to have a few rehearsals. And I know that Chase and I both kind of experienced, like after our first rehearsal, we're like, oh, okay, phew, that person can act and they're a good person. And now we feel relief heading forward into this journey we're about to go on together.
Nice. Eric asks, what are you yeah, that's the question. What were you feeling / thinking throughout the Mean One premiere in LA? It looks like last month.
Oh my goodness, you asked that question and I started tearing up. Like that
Oh,
that is what I was feeling. My mom got to go. She lives in Northern California and she came down to go to the premiere with me, and it was amazing. Like both my parents have supported me since I was like in 7th grade drama class wanting to do this. And my dad wanted to come down. He ended up not being able to make it because of work, but he's like, catch you on the next one, which is a cool feeling too. But yeah, having my mom there with me and my boyfriend and my good friend Vito, like having that support and these people that have supported me when you're in kind of the dry times where you're working 6 jobs and selling DVDs to make rent, like, and you believe in this dream and how, if acting is the thing that sets your soul on fire and you just have to do that, there is no other possibility. Like, I have to be in this industry that I love so much, and to see it finally culminate in something as exciting as a movie release in theaters and a red carpet premiere. Like, you just kind of have to be in the moment and absorb it and love that you're here. You have arrived.
Oh man, yeah, I just can imagine that is such a emotional, but like also like overwhelming in a great sense.
Because
Just
it's easy to get kind of wrapped up in, like, we're always going for the next goal, right? We're always hustling, we're always striving. And sometimes you just have to take a moment to be like, but look how far we've come.
which uh is sort of a segue into a big question, and that is that for anyone watching who is like interested into getting into acting or stunt performing or whatever it may be, if you were to meet them and talk to them right now, what advice would you give them?
Never give up. If this is something that you know in your heart, you just have to do. Like, just keep training and keep preparing yourself for the moment that it'll happen for you. You just have to keep training, keep going to acting classes, it's amazing that, we all have a phone. Like, you can practice, you can put yourself on film and do scenes and film monologues and network with other performers. And there's an awesome Facebook pages of other actors. I'm on one called the Talent Managers for Actors page, and they have awesome information on there to help actors, and getting to network with people and learn from others who have come before you. Like, just be humble, keep training, and don't ever give up if this is something you really want to do.
Beautiful. That almost brought me to tears. That was really beautiful. That was really beautifully said. And like, because I know even with someone like, I've been wanting to get into writing and directing, and it gets to those points where I write and sometimes I don't know what to write, and then it's like, well, will my writing be good? And then you have those insecurities, and it's like, I want to make sure I'm writing something that's good, everything like that. And I had a friend one time tell me, he's like, it doesn't matter if your first script is like crap. It's like, as long as you like wrote it, you got it out there, and you feel proud of it, and you made it work, then
Absolutely.
that's what matters. And then and then you just learn from your experience as you keep on going. So
100%. Your friend is very
yeah. It was just like, yeah, he helped push me into wanting to get into writing and directing myself. But yeah, it's
It really is just training yourself to have that discipline. That was one of my first jobs, was working on Super 7 with Sandra West Diaries.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I got to play a few roles on that web series.
Interesting. Is the web series available? Like, where can we watch the web series? Available on?
I believe it's on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think there's a website. Come back on and tell us. But yeah, I'm sure if you Google it, Super 7 and the Sandra West Diaries, you'll see that. It's a really fun kind of 60s vibe spy web series.
Oh man,
a lot of fun. And actually, that's a fun one to watch if like a lot of stunt people have been on it, a lot of actors who have come up in their careers, because that's been a long time running web series, and people will play multiple characters. On Who's Who.
Oh man, that's fun. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that one out when I get the chance. You already sort of uh, answered this, but I guess you can go deeper into talking about it. But what was your favorite scene to film?
Definitely loved the montage.
Yeah,
I would say the one that surprised me the most was I can't give it away, but like the
yeah,
final
yeah,
twist in the end with David, I think was one of my favorite because it was probably one of the biggest challenges, and I think everyone didn't really know how it was going to go. Both from the script perspective and the directing perspective, I think everyone was a little nervous about the scene, and then when we did it, it just worked. And I hope all of you feel the same way when you watch it. But I feel like it was kind of a special moment on set where everyone breathed a sigh of relief and were like, okay, this is going to work.
yeah. Because it's one thing to have something written on paper, and then once you actually like put it into action, it starts to you start to feel kind of nervous about like, oh boy, is this actually going to be like executed well? Because it sounds good on paper, but is it going to and
Yeah.
to hear the relief of it? Yeah.
Flip, our writer, came and hugged me after, and he also plays my dad in the scene. So at that point, we just had like a really great relationship because we'd done all of our father-daughter scenes together. And he came and hugged me, and it was this really nice moment of I'm glad that he felt that his words were being honored and brought to life, and I was just happy to have great words.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, because like you and your dad as like characters, I felt like a real, I felt like that real father daughter kind of connection there.
Thank you. I really, when he was, I didn't know that he was cast as my father until, because I had met him before, until the table read. And I think, I'm not even sure if it was 100% cast at that point or if he was just reading it for the table read, but I knew at the table read that chemistry was there. Like even sitting in a room full of people, like not near each other, just kind of like leaning over and saying the lines across a table, it just totally worked. Like, and I think we kind of look alike, and he reminds me a lot of my dad. Speaking of like kind of how you approach acting scenes, like there's this acting method called as if, and you kind of, I definitely brought some as if of like how I interact with my own dad into those scenes. My dad is kind of a goofball, and I think that's what Flip really brought to it when he played it, and it really worked.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I could totally tell it was like kind of a lovable goofball kind of character of a dad.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like I literally said out loud, I was like, I love the dad.
I've heard some people say that that's one of their favorite characters.
Yeah, it was so great.
And both Flip and I and John, who plays the hunter, which is another one of my favorite roles in the film, I think he is awesome. We are all actually seeking representation. So if there are any agents out there, we are taking those phone calls.
Ooh, nice. Well, I definitely hope you work on more projects. I know that.
Yeah, me too.
I know that I would. If the next thing you do, I'll be there day one for sure.
Oh, thank you.
And now to kind of cap it off, I want to sort of ask, because this is a Christmas movie, and I asked you earlier what was some of your favorite Christmas movies, but like what are some of your favorite like Christmas memories overall that you kind of have?
My mom always really likes to make it special. She believes in like Christmas morning and stockings and keeping that magic alive. Even now that we're adults, she still wants to do the stockings and the opening gifts, and really just spending time with family is what that's all about for me. And my Nana, my mom's mom, was always really amazing at she lived to give gifts. That was definitely her love language. And she would send us, even though she lived in Oklahoma and we lived in California, she would send us a huge box of wrapped gifts, and she wanted us to like call her after we were done so she could hear about what we loved the most. And just her heart was something that I really miss. She's been gone for about 10 years now, and I still miss her all the time. That's she was my confidant. I would call her every day, and this has been such an amazing thing to happen. I so wish she could be here to see it, but I definitely think about her around the holidays, and some of my best memories are with her.
Oh, yeah. I can totally relate. My grandma just passed away not too long ago, and that was just
Sorry.
I remember sharing some of those lovely Christmas memories with her, and so we always kind of think of her over the holidays and have little ornaments that we made with her and that were like dedicated to her that we hang up and everything.
Cute.
Yeah, it's really sweet. So
Pictures on my tree.
oh yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year after all, and especially it's the most wonderful time of the year for any movie fan out there to go see The Mean One in theaters.
Yes, make it your bonding
Because,
experience with your family.
yes, go and watch The Grinch. Go and kill some was it Newsville down this one, right? Some
What was that?
the name of the city in this film was like Newsville or
Oh
something.
yeah, Newville. Yep.
Newsville. Yeah. Yeah. Go and watch them kill some news from Newsville. So yeah, it was I guess I do want to ask real quick, just because like how was that the process, or how how was the challenge, I guess, of not really being like, was it like a rights thing that y'all had with some of the Grinch issue like stuff? Because like I thought it was funny, like there's a part where it's like Finch, order from Mr. Finch and all that stuff. I thought it was really funny,
That's one of my favorite scenes
but it
too.
was definitely
And I don't know if you
yeah.
caught it, but that actor is named Rachel Winfrey, and she was in another movie with very similar that came out in the 2000s. She was one of the old ladies that found the baby in that movie. So that's kind of an Easter egg that she appears in both. So she has a cameo in ours. And to tie it in to what we were just talking about, she actually really reminds me of my Nana. So it was at the end of our filming day, I had to go and ask her if I could hug her because I was like, you just remind me so much of my Nana. Can I hug you? And she was really sweet about it. She's like, of course. And she like just held me and like patted my back for a minute. And I was like, wow, I didn't know how much I needed that. Thank you.
Oh.
I am so weird.
That's great. Yeah. There's a love that scene.
Yes, order for Mike Finch.
That was great.
Legitimately startled every time she came out too. We would both.
Yeah. Even me, like, it was like sort of like a jump scare that I was not like.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional or not. It was like a jump scare I wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, okay. But it was like
I love that she
yeah.
do that for us.
It was fantastic. So yeah, guys, definitely go see The Mean One in theaters. Now you do not want to miss it. It is an entertaining, fun time. So I think that's about covers it for the interview overall.
Thank you guys so much. Please go see it. We want to be in theaters on Christmas, and we can only do that with your help. And anyone who has seen it and loved it, it helps us so much in our grassroots indie campaign if you can leave us some good reviews on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, especially verified reviews, which require you to prove that you have a ticket through Fandango and then have the same email with Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes. It's a whole thing, but if you can leave us some verified reviews, that would be amazing.
If I remember correctly, I believe, at least at one point they did, Rotten Tomatoes started making it like a rule where you have to have seen the film in order to review it or something, because like
they still do both, but
okay,
the actual percentage that it shows of audience reviews is verified reviews, which in a way is nice, because some people get on there and they're like, I haven't even seen this, but I know it's going to be terrible. And we're like, Wow. Did
Yeah.
that make your day better?
No, it's like review bombing is the worst thing ever because you don't know how anything's going to be unless you see it. So
Right.
and that's part of the reason why they became so strict on verified reviews is because when like films like Captain Marvel were coming out, people were just making bad reviews way before even seeing it
Yeah,
and
it's a
other stuff like that. Like
hole in their stocking.
yeah, exactly. It's like they're on the naughty list, so that uh oh, that's sweet. The
Oh,
5-star
thanks,
reviews on both Rotten
Erin.
Tomatoes and IMDb. That's awesome. And then I'm gonna go to Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. I usually use the letterbox, so I'm gonna have to but I will go back to IMDb
I haven't even heard of that one. So
and
yeah,
to
any good reviews are appreciated.
oh
Thank you.
yeah. Letterbox is like another kind of review service that where like all the movies are on, and so the mean one's on there. So I gave it a good positive review on there. I just don't really use IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes that much, but I would definitely go to IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and
Yeah, and we're not
rate
only
this one
hoping for
high as
our
well.
success, but the success of
Oh
indie
yeah,
features to come. That I really hope that this paves the way for them to get theatrical releases, and that doesn't happen if we don't have the reviews to show it and enough people coming out. So come out, support indie theater, indie film. We appreciate you. Thank you.
absolutely. So once again, thank you for coming on. This was a blast. And now that you're on, you're a friend of the channel. So anytime you have a project coming on, you can always feel free to come on if you want to just be on an interview or anything like that. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. So definitely don't be a Grinch. Enjoy this holiday season watching crazy bloody mayhem. So that'll be it. But hope to I will see you all in the next video. And
Merry
until
Christmas, happy holidays.
stay
Bye.
classy, my friends.